Welcome back to Clink. We know we've been away for a little while.
Yeah,
Been doing some renovations, some moving, some holidaying.
Do you like the place?
But yeah,
Welcome back.
yeah, we think the lighting's a little bit better, but comment down below. We are going to start off as we always do with our with our beer of the week.
What do you bring?
This is 4X Gold. So some of you Queenslanders might know it. It's one of the more famous brews of the country. Some of our overseas visitors.
Oh,
yeah,
twist.
Yes,
You usually open these.
Yeah, I know. It's all we did. Oh, Clink. Yeah.
Cheers.
So, we'll see how that goes for the episode. So this week is a very interesting topic. It's pretty topical for the world, for this country at the moment. It's same-sex marriage.
Yeah. You've briefed me very briefly on this.
Yeah, we've had quite a detailed discussion, but we've got to make it brief because otherwise we could go for literally hours and chatting on both sides of the argument of why it should be in place, why it shouldn't be in place.
Come on, what you got for me?
Okay, so basically in Australia at the moment we're about to have a plebiscite. Now a plebiscite normally is something that is voted on. It's normally, in Australia, voting is compulsory. This isn't compulsory, so you don't have to vote if you don't want to, and then the government will decide.
So it's not a technical plebiscite, but it's a sort of...
It's effectively
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion poll. That is what's coming. If it's big enough if enough people vote, and they do vote enough to either way of the majority, then a bill, so if it's a yes, then a bill can go to Parliament, or they'll put, the government has said that they'll put a bill to Parliament, and then they'll vote on it.
Okay, so it's not set in stone if the opinion is way in favour of one direction.
No. It's not done by the Australian Electoral Roll.
Okay.
So it's costing, I think the ABS is doing it, Australian Bureau of Statistics, for those of you unfamiliar, and it's costing us, the taxpayer, about $122 million, Australian dollars. So it's an expensive exercise for an opinion poll.
Okay.
So that may actually not do anything. Now, there are 16 countries in the world that currently have legalized same-sex marriage, including New Zealand.
Just over the road?
Yep, just over the ditch. New Zealand, UK, the US, Brazil, Belgium, quite a few European countries.
You're telling me an interesting stat about one of the European countries.
The opinion poll of Denmark was 83%, I think it was, or it's around, 87 actually, 87% for.
I mean, that's unreal. That's a fantastic turnout.
Is it good? Well, I didn't see what the actual number of voters were there, because they're only opinion polls. So what if it's only 10 people and 8 people voted? Yes, but anyway, but no, it's a big thing. But they did. But Zimbabwe, had 19% for. So you can tell the difference of the demographics in the different countries, and which are more traditional. Like if you went to a heavily Catholic country, like say, I don't know, Portugal, for example, who are quite traditional in their ways.
Would we see
you would see a sway the other way. So anyway, so we'll get into the for and against.
Yeah, sounds good.
In Australia.
This is
let's grab another drink.
This is just as a brief. This is very gassy. I've noticed. This is as my first.
Gassy.
Have you?
Oh, do you mean it's quite carbonated?
Yeah, finding them.
Yeah.
Got a few burps coming.
Yeah,
your way.
It is. It is an interesting drop. It's one I don't normally pick up, but I thought,
being a Queenslander.
Yeah, we should try everything, shouldn't we? And give our reviews on those things. So
agreed.
So the main group that's looking to push their agenda for the no vote, so against same-sex marriage, is obviously a Christian-backed lobby group.
Before we get into this, we should say this is a potentially messy topic.
Yes, very messy.
Everything that we say from now is
Can be taken with a pinch of salt.
A pinch of salt, and based on the research that we've done. If we're wrong, please let us know. Please comment. Let's get stuck in. You can't Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Are you ready?
I am. So, the coalition. This is super dry.
Okay.
Okay. So the Coalition for Marriage, basically are a group that have on their website. And this is how I've done
So the
my
Coalition
research.
for Marriage. We briefly discussed this. They sound like they would be for marriage, you know, in all aspects. Their name is a tad misleading.
It is. So they're the Coalition for Marriage, or the Sanctity of Marriage, or the current
So maintaining
male female like heterosexual relationships.
Okay.
They have 4 consequences of same sex marriage going through.
When you say consequent, this is their predicted.
This is what they say. These are the things that are going to be problems if same sex marriage is passed. Okay. So you have gender identity. You've got freedom of religion. You've got safe schools, and you've got freedom of speech. And we'll briefly delve into each of those topics. You're right. It is gassy.
Coming back. So the first one is very interesting. It seems very interesting to me.
It is.
But you need to explain a bit more.
So gender identity is basically the increased. Now, if you teach kids and teach people about gender fluidity, then they are more likely to become this is what they're from their side of things, to have gender dysphoria.
Okay, so a sort of semi-confusion almost, they're saying that it's going to encourage a gender confusion in younger children.
Exactly, or they're just people that maybe are confused with their...
Or is this anyone? This isn't just schools?
This isn't just schools, but they believe that in children, if they're told about it, then they'll just... There will be more. They have they've got a graph on their website showing that before it was taught in 2010, compared to now in 2016, their cases have gone from like 7 to 250.
Okay.
So that's their justification. I mean, 250 in the grand scale of the population of the country of 22 million people is tiny. So,
but I guess this is, and then there's a flip side of that. I guess where you could say you've never had a cold before, and you're going, oh, you know, I've got this bunged up nose, sore throat, and things, and then, you know, you didn't know it was a cold. One day you told it's a cold.
Yeah.
Then however many other people have a cold, sort of thing. I guess there's that flip side there that you could say, well, actually, it's just naming a condition and saying it's almost, you know, it is a thing, and not necessarily encouraging people to, I don't know, exercise it, but it's more of they identify that they have it rather than it's being encouraged in that respect, if you see what I'm saying.
No, 100% I do. So that's the first point that they're sort of bringing up. The second point is freedom of religion. They believe that if, and they've got some examples from different countries where it has happened. You can go to the coalition, just Google Coalition for Marriage, and you can see in all of this stuff that we're talking about in more detail. But they come across and think that priests and religious members or anything like that won't be protected if there's little changes made in the Marriage Act. For example, they believe that like if a same-sex couple comes to like comes to a priest.
Oh, I can see where this is going now.
And asks to be married, and then that priest then turns them away because he doesn't believe in that like 2 men or 2 women getting married. Then becomes discrimination.
Okay.
Whereas at the moment, it's they obviously there is no marriage there, so they can't ask to be married by someone.
And they're able to turn them away even if asked because it is not legal.
There is exactly. So that's what they believe.
Okay.
So they'll have to then sort of have to breach their own like moral and religious
protocol.
To actually to abide by the law. So that's their one side there. Safe schools. It's going back to the school teachings again. So basically, they'll just from like grade 1 all the way to grade 12.
So grade 1 being
6 years old, all the way up to grade 12, they'll be teaching about the different genders and gender fluidity and sexuality.
So what they're going to have to adjust that syllabus to
so sex education is going to be more broad. and it is going to dabble in on the other side as well, like on that same sex sort of
And
relationships.
their argument is it could encourage it again.
Yeah, well, they're thinking that it's essentially their side of things. They're thinking that there's brainwashing and things like that.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah,
strong argument. Or I say strong argument, but almost difficult. The things they're saying here, when people identify this as a natural feeling, not necessarily something that can be instilled into someone by I'm going to make you gay, or if you see what I'm saying.
no, exactly, and we'll go into our opinions maybe like a little bit further on, but we'll just put the negative points forward first, and then we can have a chat through on what our viewpoints are on
So
things like that. That's safe
3.
schools. That's the third one.
Yeah.
Then there's freedom of speech, which is very similar to freedom of religion,
Okay.
but it's more in relation to if someone has a belief. Say, one example they did was a cake maker. Now they had religious beliefs and they didn't believe in same-sex marriage. This was in the US. Now they made a cake. They were asked to make a cake from a same-sex couple for their wedding.
Okay.
Now, because of their religious beliefs, they basically turned them down. Now this was taken as discrimination.
Okay.
And then the company, like the cake company, was sued $135,000 for discrimination.
Gosh.
So,
I wonder how much the cake was.
no, not $135,000, that's for sure. But so those are their 4 main points. So,
So this was in recent. This was post all of the.
this is in the last 2 or 3 years. All of
the laws.
So
changing in the US. This has been a fallout from that.
yeah, so that's their side of things. The sort of the no vote. The main yes vote is obviously the LGBTI community.
Yeah, of course.
So
What's the I in that stand for, sir?
I is intersex. So so they basically, everyone wants an equal playing field.
Everyone wants an evil playing field. Donald Trump sat in the corner.
Yes. But yeah, no. So everyone deserves an equal playing field. That's I mean.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to get married, who's anyone? Why should there be a law to stop you from getting married?
This is where it becomes sort of a tough argument, because again, it's coming down to an opinion poll, and there's an awful lot of opinion on this topic. I mean, you go back a generation or two from us. I don't know if you've spoken to your parents about this, or I'm pretty sure that if I spoke to my parents, the response would be very different from what our response would be to this topic. It's almost like the minds have been opened substantially to different ideas and views in recent years. So I don't know if that's with the birth of sort of the information age and all of that thing, but sort of it's definitely an interesting adjustment and transition almost into a new age. So this may be partially why politicians and people have been in that job, for years, are struggling with these ideas and these much more fresh, new way of thinking. For someone who's 50 or older, much older, in these sort of roles that have these governing abilities and are able to just make laws, pass bill, or try and pass bills and things. I see that's maybe where these things keep colliding. The whole internet issues that we had in the last few years, old media versus new media and things. This is a similar topic, just in a different realm, I guess, of society. So, it's definitely. I mean, what would be your thoughts on it? If I could get your opinion, penny for your thoughts.
Cent thoughts.
Cent for your thoughts. I don't know if you say if it's penny or cent in Australia.
It's still penny, I think. I think it's generally. I think that's just a saying that's just come up.
Still learning
from
them.
the UK. Yeah, no, fair.
Okay.
So, so like I said before, I think everyone deserves the right to get married. I don't think a law. I mean, in the end of all laws at least as in Australia, you know, and most countries are created from religion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's come from. But I mean,
I think that's another side of it, isn't it? The religious aspect is that it is or at least not necessarily a religious aspect, but if you look at marriage as what it is, it's a religious or traditionally a religious ceremony designed for, you know, religious gatherings and things like that. And this is where those rules are having to be bent, you know, things that have been in place for years and years, never been questioned, and now, you know, religion has these things written down saying no, yes, almost black and white.
Yeah.
And these are being questioned by actually a society, maybe a society's sort of adoption of these traditions. So, you know, we've got this new age of people saying, we like the idea of marriage, not necessarily the religious sort of side of it, but the actual ceremony itself is a very, very lavish and, you know, awesome thing to be part of.
And it's a commitment as well. I mean, at the end of the day,
actually, absolutely. A marriage is seen as a high level of commitment, isn't it?
It is. It's like you're committing to someone for the rest of your life. So whether that's a man or a woman or
I hadn't even thought of that aspect, but yeah, absolutely. So, even in the eyes of the law, it is a larger commitment.
It is, and like whether it's so, I feel like, you know, we're in a society nowadays that should be able to evolve and change with the evolving people that are in it.
Yeah.
So, if you don't, then, you know, why are we no better than we were 500 years ago?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've every year, every decade, you know, we're supposed to be changing, and everything's supposed to be getting better for everyone, and living is supposed to be better than that. So why
the age of living rather than surviving being, you know, that was the last sort of generation or two, maybe previous to us. We're in an age where we want to be comfortable, and I think that's why the idea of North Korea is so threatening, because we've had I mean, at least you and I haven't seen, I don't think you have seen conflict.
No, yes.
And, you know, our concerns are very, very lucky to have concerns in a first world sort of environment where it's about making sure you don't get sunburnt and things, you know, things that aren't necessarily something you would have thought of 70 odd years ago or so, when you struggled to have vegetables and things on the table.
No, exactly. I mean, look, we've had race issues, we've had slavery issues, we've had stolen generation. If we're looking at Australia, a lot of those issues are still prevalent in the world, but are a lot better than they used to be. And this is just another one of those knowledge now. Knowledge. And now this is just another topic. At least in Australia, a lot of the other countries have already put it into place with same-sex marriage. We just need to follow suit. That's what I believe anyway.
It seems strange that I mean, as far as I'm aware, at least in the UK, where I'm from, they don't have. I don't think that they teach sort of the whole sex education that early. So to see that Australia, in that sense, jumping in that area, you know, you're miles ahead, already sort of preparing a child and for the things that might be encountered, or things that probably will be encountered in life.
Yeah.
Yet this is one thing that's maybe you're not quite as ahead on. It seems strange to see, you know, so very open to the initial education program in that sense, but then not in this particular channel. So yeah.
So if tell us what you think. You know, go online and onto our YouTube or our Facebook or our Instagram, and just chat down there. More than happy to reply to you guys and just put your viewpoints on. Either way, we don't really mind. You know,
I'm pretty sure there's a few things we've got wrong in this video.
No, 100%. I mean, we can only research so much. So I think we'll move on to the beer review.
Yes.
So we've got 4X Gold. So it's brewed in Milton in Brisbane. Yes, I've done a bit of research. They are the main sponsors of our great Maroons.
Yeah. Not maroon.
Not maroon, Maroons. Our rugby league team. and other sort of things that they do. It's 99% sugar free apparently. So
Okay, so what's the replacement?
no, I think most beer is 99% sugar free. No, it is. This is the biggest marketing ploy I've ever seen.
I've seen it on so many bottles.
I keep reading and going. Of course, there's no sugar in it because the alcohol eats and whatever it is. Is it the yeast eats the sugar and then it spits out alcohol? Isn't that what it? Isn't that the brewing process?
Potentially.
I think so. I think it's a very basic version of what actually happens, but I'm pretty sure that's what.
So you don't, not gluten free though, obviously.
No, because it's
that would be that's the second biggest marketing ploy.
gluten free. I have seen gluten free beer. I had gluten free beer.
I think we had gluten free bacon the other day. It's like gluten free bacon. I'm pretty sure it should be gluten free.
How much gluten are you putting into your bacon?
Maybe that's what they're feeding the animals. But
anyway, we'll get into it.
Okay. I feel like we need to change up. We need to change up the rating system.
Okay.
We need to use, instead of a thumbs up, thumbs down, we need to use like out of 5 stars or something.
Okay.
Or not stars though. Stars is too common. You need to. This is not pre-planned.
Okay. Okay. your new system. That we're doing. What are we doing? 5 what? 5
what?
5 bottle caps.
It could be 5 bottle caps.
We don't. We only have 2 at the moment.
We have 2.
But I'm sure we can superimpose something.
Bottle
on the
caps
screen.
or clinks or.
Yeah, 5 clinks.
5 clinks. So do we have to clink 5 times if it's 5, or do we?
Yeah, but how do we? What happens if our things are different? Maybe we just clink it on the ground. So you just keep tapping until so out of 5, it's taps on the ground.
How about we could post it in. We could say we give it 5 clinks and then it could be like ting 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 ting.
Yeah, that'll work. Sweet. Let's do that.
Okay. So how do you? Come on, tell me the notes.
The note smells like beer.
Do the hops pop, Ricky? Do they?
No, they don't. I chose this beer not only because I was thinking about doing a bit of a budget week, doing a bit of. We always
What else can you ask for? You can't get a good beer as well as we've got studio renovations.
Yeah, the costs are up, but this is a very bland beer. This is the sort of beer that you drink when you are after a game of football is fine because it's nice. It goes down easy. It's just a lager.
It's you pointed out, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. It's low on alcohol. It's good. Like
low on sugar.
Yeah, and when you have to buy like a whole carton for your football team, this is what you buy. You don't go and buy the like $70 carton of James Squire 150 lashes. So
depends how much you like your football team, I guess, doesn't it?
No, you probably only like half of them. So why would you buy all of those?
Fair enough.
So yeah,
Okay.
I will give this out of 5. I'll give it 2.5 clinks.
I would give it a. For me, it's got to get points. It's got to get points for local, the geography of the place. Being 3 clinks. Get 3 clinks from me.
3 clinks. Sweet. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching.
Well, not so sweet.
No.
No sugar. Almost.
Like, subscribe, and share us around. Thanks heaps, and we'll hopefully see you guys next week.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.